Good afternoon, my dear students. Welcome to online recording classes due to COVID-19. So, in part of the company laws subject, we have started unit number 1, that is company's registration. What is the meaning of company? So, what are the characteristics and what are the classifications of the company, types of the companies? And what is incorporation? That is promotion, promoters, the promoters' duties. In last session, what is the meaning of promotion and who is the promoter in the company? So that steps involved and we have discussed the legal position of a promoter and the rights of the promoter and duties of the promoter. So whatever the promoter's role, okay, so how the role is there in the company, the promoter's role is there in the company, that we have discussed in the last session. Okay. Next, the incorporation of a company. So how the incorporated, the public company or private company, whatever. So what we applied, what the promoters are applied to the company's register to form a new company. So the incorporation of a company. The incorporation of a company. Then a company comes into existence when a number of persons come together with a view to be exploit some business opportunity, and these persons are called promoters. Then who are coming, who are interested, okay, then who are started the business. Then under section 3, any 7 or more persons, that means 2 or more in the case of the private company, and 1 person is enough in case of the 1 person company, but may form an incorporated company for lawful purpose by subscribing their names. So, to the memorandum of association and complying with the other requirements in respect of the registration. So, at the time of registration, at the time of to form a new company, so what documents are submitted to the registrar office at registrar? So such an incorporated company may be a company, maybe it is limited by the shares and it is limited by the guarantee, or an unlimited company. So whatever it is, then what steps are there before proceeding with the procedure to file the documents to the company's registrar? So that's why that steps before proceedings with the procedure of filing the documents. So first one, director's identification number has to be obtained. Director's identification number, that is DIN. Director's identification number. So has to be obtained. Then digital signature of the promoters. Why? Because when filing the documents at registrar, the 7 members signed, the 7 members signature is very, very important. That is digital signature of the promoters, and both the DIN and digital signatures will be registered with the MCA, means Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Minister of Corporate Affairs portal. So after registration and verification of director's identification number and digital signatures of the promoter, so who is to sign e-form, the following steps will be taken. So that e-forms here, availability of the name, section 4 of the Companies Act provides that a company cannot be registered by a name, so which in the position of the central government is undesirable. So it is advisable to promoters find out the availability of the proposed name of the company from the registrar's companies. So what name is there? So without name can't registered by registrar. So that's why according to section 4 of the Companies Act, then you have to provide the name of the company and mention. So the proposed company of the name from the registered companies, the promoters are required to select at least 6 alternative names in the order of preference for the proposed company. Yes, and secure the name availability by making an application to the Register of Companies of the state in which they want to have the proposed company incorporated. So the application is required to be made in the prescribed form, E-form INC 1, and along with the prescribed fees and shall be with digital signatures of the promoters as per the Companies Act, Companies Rule 2014. So these are very important when the first step, the before proceeding the procedure of filing the documents, the availability of the name is very important. Then after deciding the names, so at least the alternative 6 names you have to submit. So from that anyone will select by the company register and will register. Okay, formalities to obtain the certificate incorporation, and according to section 4 of the Companies Act 2013 provide that no company shall be registered by a name is identical with or resembles too nearly to the name of existing company registered under this act or any previous company's law. So be such that use by the company will constitute of an offence under the any law and for the time being in force, and also is undesirable in the opinion of the central government, whatever it is. But the formalities you have to obtain the application form. An application shall be filed with the ROC, Register of Companies, in form number INC, that is one person company, or form number INC 7, other than the one person company, that is under the Companies Act, Rules 2014 and Companies Incorporation Rules 2014. So, the everything is prepared by the promoters when commencing the business, when forming the company. Okay, so what documents are required? What documents are required when the registration at company's register? So that documents we have to prepare. So documents to be filed with the register. What documents are there? You see the documents. Documents required at the time of registration. So after ascertaining the availability of the name, the promoter should proceed the file with the register of the companies along with the fee and required documents. That is, first one, memorandum of association. Memorandum of association and articles of association. Okay. So in memorandum of association, it is the backbone of the company. Then everything will be there. So it is a charter of the company. For purpose of registration, the promoters have to file with the registrar of the company a duly signed and properly stamped printed memorandum of association. Duly signed and printed, properly printed, that is memorandum of association, and submit to the company at the time of registration. And articles of association also. The other important document is articles of association, which contains the rules and regulations relating to the internal management of the company. So the articles of association should be duly signed by all the subscribers of the memorandum in the prescribed manner. Okay. And the declaration. Third one is declaration. What is the declaration here? A declaration in the prescribed form by the by an advocate, a chartered accountant or cost accountant or a company secretary in practice. So, who is engaged in the formation of the company and by a person named in the articles of as a director, manager or secretary of the company. So that all the requirements of this act and the rules made thereunder in respect of the registration and matters precedent or incidental there to have been complied with. So, who are giving the declaration? The declaration prescribed by an advocate and declaration prescribed by a chartered accountant. It is described by and prescribed by cost accountant and company secretary like. Next, affidavit. Affidavit also you have to prepare. That is an affidavit from each of the subscriber of the memorandum and from persons named as the first directors. So, if any in the articles that he is not convicted of any offence in connection with the promotion, so formation or management of any company, or that he has not been found guilty and of any fraud or misfeasance of any breach of the unity and duty to any company under this act or any previous company law during a preceding 5 years, and that all the documents filed with the registrar for registration of the company contain information that is correct. So, and complete and true to the best of his knowledge and belief. Means the affidavit is very, very important when signing the promoters. So, everything will be an affidavit from each of the subscribers to the memorandum and from persons named as the first directors. So, if any in the articles that he is not convicted of any offence in connection with the promotion, formation or management of any company. So, this is very, very important requirement. And next, address. The address of the company must you have to write. The address of for correspondent till its registered office is establishment. So, where is the registered office? Okay, that we have to mention. Next, particulars of subscribers. Particulars of subscribers. So, the particulars of name including surname or family name, residential address and the nationality and such other particulars of every subscriber to the memorandum along with proof of identified then as may be prescribed, and in the case of subscribing being a body corporate such particulars as may be prescribed. So, the subscriber's name is very, very important when registration of the company. Next, particulars of first directors. Particulars of first directors. So, the first director's name, the particulars of the persons mentioned in the articles of the first directors of the company. So, their names including surnames or family names, the director's identification number and the residential address and the nationality and such other particulars including proof of identify. So, that identity as may be prescribed. So, this is very important. And particulars of the interest of first directors in the other firm or bodies corporate. Particulars of the interests of first directors in other firms or bodies corporate. bodies corporate. So the particulars of the interest of the persons mentioned in the articles of the first directors of the company in other forms or bodies corporate along with their consent to act as a director of the company in such form of and manner is may be prescribed. So whatever it is, so that is director's involvement. Next, power of attorney. Power of attorney. So the power of attorney is very important. Okay. So with a view to fulfilling various formalities that are required for incorporation of a company, the promoters may execute a power of attorney in favor of the one of them or an advocate or some other professional like the chartered accountants or a company secretary, whatever who are there. But the power of attorney to be given on a non-judicial stamp paper of appropriate value with the reference to the state in which the office of the registration of the companies is situated, or on paper affixing non-judicial papers special adhesive stamps of same value. So the attorney is very important. And consent of the directors. Consent of the directors. So the director's consent is very important according to the section 266 in case of the public limited company. So having share capital, person cannot be appointed as a director by the articles of association, and unless he has before the registration of the articles either himself or through his agent then signed and filed with the registrar, his consent is writing to act as a director. That is, consent of the directors is not required in case of the private company. So the consent of the directors is not required to the private company and one person company. Next, particulars of directors along with them. Particulars of directors along with directors identification number. So the particulars of directors are very important. A company by its articles of association appoint any person or persons as a director, manager or a secretary. It may also file their particulars with the registrar at the time of incorporation and filing of agreement. Filing of agreement. So what is that here? The agreement, if any, which the company proposes to enter into the any individual or appointment, its manager, director and overtime director or manager, a public company or a subsidiary company of a public company with paid up capital 5 crores or more is required to have managing or overtime director or managers are important. So that's why who are there? The managing director, and who are the overtime directors, and who are there? The managers, that you have to file the agreement. And notice of registered address. Notice of registered address. Registered address must also be made. Must also be made. So, statutory declaration of the companies, a declaration to be filed in form. So, including that is Incorporation 8 with the registrar of the companies. So, statutory declaration of companies. Statutory declaration of compliance. So these. So what documents are required at the time of the registration and at the time of incorporation of a company? Then you have to file to the company's register. That is memorandum of association, articles of the association, then declaration, affidavit, address, and the particulars of the subscribers and particulars of the first directors, then particulars of the interest of first directors in other firms or body corporate, and power of attorney and consent of the directors, then particulars of the directors along with the directors identification number and filing of agreement, then notice of registered address must also be made, then statutory declaration of compliance. So these documents are you have to prepare and submit at the time of the incorporation of the company. And next to the certification of incorporation as per section subsection 2. So that certification on registration, the registrar will issue a certificate of the incorporation in form of INC 11, then whereby he certifies that the company is incorporated in the case of the limited company, so that the company is limited on and from the date mentioned on the certificate of incorporation issued under section 7 subsection 2, the registrar shall allot to the company a corporate identity number, CIN, corporate identity number, which shall be a distinct identity for the company and which shall be also be included in the certificate. So when submitting the total what documents are required for the incorporation of the company, then after that, after verifying that all, then the company registrar, the company's registrar will issue a certificate of incorporation. Then you have to start. అంటే మీరు కంపెనీ స్టార్ట్ చేయొచ్చు అని చెప్పేసి అనే దానికి ఒక ఇన్కార్పొరేట్ సర్టిఫికేట్ కూడా ఇచ్చేస్తారు. దాన్ని అందులో ACIN, that is corporate identity number. Corporate identity number. So from the date of incorporation mentioned in the certificate of incorporation, such of the subscribers and to the memorandum and other persons as may from time to time the members of the company shall be a body corporate by the name contained in the memorandum. So it becomes capable of exercising all the functions of an incorporated company having perpetual succession and a common seal. Then from the date of incorporation mentioned in the certificate, so the company becomes a legal person separate from its shareholders. So the legal effects of incorporation as per the section 9 as under, a company becomes a body corporate distinct from its members, and a company has a perpetual succession and common seal. Then a company can sue and be sued in its own name. A company has a right to hold and alienate its own properly. So the final conclusions are the certificate of incorporation. All the requirements of the act have been complied with the respect of registration. The company is duly registered and that the company coming to existence on the date mentioned in the certification. So what date is given to start a business? That is certification of incorporation. Okay. So what date is given in the certificate? So that is the certification of the incorporation. Then immediately, if it is issuing what date or from, then what is there? Then you have to start the company. So when the memorandum is signed and registered, the subscribers are body corporate and capable immediately of the exercising all the functions of an incorporated company. So the company thus attains maturity at its birth, whatever it is. Then online registration also available now in present. So before online, so in online registration procedure, acquire the, if it is registration in online, online lo one company registration cheyalante, so what requirements are there? So the requirement documents here, the procedure, acquire then director's identification number. This is the first process in registration, that each of the director of the company should obtain their identification number. So as per the Amendment Act 2006, acquiring a director's identification number is compulsory for every director for online registration. So the registration yourself on the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, then website first and have a login ID, then after filing director's identification number and form, one should upload the filed form by checking to e-form upload button on Ministry of Corporate Affairs website and should pay applicable fees, then direct online payments. So the company should intimate the registrar's registrar of corporates and but all directors identification number through DIN form. And if there is any change in director's identification number or need for any updation like changes of address or personal details, etc., then director should intimate the change of by submitting the form, e-form, DIN, phone form and like, and acquire digital signatures and create an account on Ministry of Corporate Affairs portal new user registration and apply for the companies to be registered. So this is the final major step. Then apply for the companies to be registered means it is the final stage. Before first, if it is registered in online, the first step, acquire the director's identification number and acquire the digital signatures and create an account on MCA portal, new users registration and apply for the company to be registered. So these are the very important, and pre-incorporation contracts are also available here. So sometimes the contracts are made on behalf of a company before it's duly incorporated. Such contracts are called pre-incorporation or preliminary contracts. So these contracts may be related to property which the promoters wish to purchase for the company, or they may be made with persons whose know-how is vital to the success of the company. So and whose services it is essential or secure. Then before its incorporation, a company has no capacity to contract, but a contract entered into by promoters on behalf of the proposal company is void so far as the company is concerned. So that's why the promoters cannot be the agent for a particular and agent for a principal which has not yet come into the existence. So in such a case, the company cannot sue or be sued on it. The company has no legal existence until it is incorporated. So finally, the topic we have completed means the promotion and incorporation of a company. That is a separate chapter is there. How to promote the company and how to incorporate the company. Who are they? The promoters. Okay, the promoters here, who started the company. So the promoter's name compulsory you have to write and mention in the memorandum of association and articles of association, duly signed and stamped also. So that is very important. So these are the important topics and these are completed. And next coming to the what is the memorandum of association, what purpose we are using, and what is the clause, then how many clauses are there. So that we have to attain an alteration of the memorandum, and after that what are the changes in the articles of association. So direct doctrine of the ultra virus, that is you have to know, and articles of association separate topics that we will discuss in next session. Then thank you very much. Have a nice day.